So in my last video, I talked about 5 players who I would personally sign for Man United and why I would sign these players. In this video, however, as a sort of continuation from my last video, I want to talk about 5 players who I would personally sell from Man United. I'm also going to discuss what kind of fees we would get for these players, and at the end of the video I'm going to add up all these transfer fees to see how much money we could potentially raise in the summer. So with that out of the way, let's get into the video. So the first player I would sell is Jadon Sancho. Now I would sell this player because he can't perform consistently in the Premier League. We have seen little glimpses here and there of how good he can really be, but I think his good performances are just too few and far between. I do like Sancho and is definitely a talented player there without a doubt, but United definitely isn't the right club for him though. Now if we were to sell Sancho, and that's a big if, I reckon we could get £25 million for him, and I think his most likely destination would be back to Dortmund on a permanent transfer. So yeah, Sancho is the first player I would sell. The next player I would sell is Scott McTominay. The reason he's on this list is simply because he isn't good enough. He looks poor on the ball, defensively he's a liability, and I think the only thing he's good for is coming off the bench and scoring a goal here and there. But in my opinion, that's not a big enough reason to keep him. Don't get me wrong, he puts the effort in and gets what United is all about, but he just doesn't have that talent nor technical ability to back it up with. More than that, he's 27 years of age as well, so it's unlikely he's going to get better than he already is. I'm not exactly sure where he would go, but I'm sure there's a Premier League club out there that we can maybe do a deal with. He does have a value after all, so I think it'd be wise to cash in whilst we still can. And I think best case scenario we could maybe receive around 20 million quid. So yeah, I would sell Scott McTominay. So the next player I would sell, and this might cause some divide with some of you, is Marcus Rashford. Now I've already made a whole video dedicated to why I think Rashford should be sold, and if you haven't seen it I highly recommend checking it out. So I'm not going to ramble on too much about it, but he's too inconsistent, he's on ridiculous wages after one good season. Whenever I see him play half the time it looks like he doesn't even want to be there. He barely presses, and overall I think it'd just be best for everyone if he went, to be honest with you. In terms of transfer fee, like I said in my previous video about Rashford, I think we could maybe get about £75 million for the player. Now it hurts to say, as I personally love this player to bits, but I think he should be sold. Now this player I want to discuss is Casemiro. Now this is a weird one because last season he was one of our most important players. This season on the other hand he's completely fallen off a cliff. His decision making has been very poor, his passing has been abysmal, and his tackling most of the time has just been reckless at best. He's 32 years of age now and I think his legs have gone. To me, he visibly can't play a full 90 minutes week in week out in the Premier League anymore, and I think he needs to be replaced by a younger midfielder. If he was going to depart in the summer, I think his most likely destination would be in Saudi Arabia, and I think in terms of transfer fee itself, I think we could recover about 25 million quid for him. So yeah, I think Casemiro should be sold in the summer. So the last player on this list is Harry Maguire. Now he has been good this season and there's no denying that. But let's be honest here, if we had both our preferred centre-backs available, he wouldn't start. He's also not the kind of centre-back we need who can play a high line or play out from the back. We tried to do this against Brighton at home last season and we got massively exposed. He's much better suited to a team like West Ham or Everton who tend to do a lot of defending on the edge of their box, which I think suits Harry Maguire's strengths a lot more. Another reason why I would sell him is, like Casemiro, he's ageing. He's 31 years of age now and I highly doubt he's going to develop any further. All in all, I think it would be best for him to go to a team like West Ham or Everton, like I said before. As for the transfer fee, with 1 year left on his contract, I think we could get about £15 million for the player. Now before I wrap up this video, I'm going to add up all the transfer fees for all of these players if they end up leaving the club. Keeping in mind this is the best case scenario, I think we could raise a possible £160 million from these sales. And we could also save roughly £60 million a year in wages, which is fucking crazy. Now with all that being said, that was a list of 5 players I would personally sell in the summer. There were other players who I thought about mentioning, but they never end up making the list. So if you disagree with any of these players, or you have any other players that you'd sell, leave your thoughts down in the comments below. I genuinely am intrigued to hear what you have to say. Also, if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And yeah, I don't really have anything else noteworthy to say, so I'll see you in the next video.